Welcome to the Shrink Wrap Show. I'm Pam Hernandez-Kaufman.
And I'm Tahliah Peak. We're two shrinks bringing you holistic health hacks.
With our 30 years of combined experience in therapy, we share helpful information about common issues that everyone faces.
Then we break down powerful, proven tools you can start using right away to better your life and your relationships.
Let's wrap.
Welcome to the Shrink Wrap Show. I'm your co-host, Tahliah Peak.
And I'm Dr. Pam Hernandez-Kaufman.
And we're here to bring you holistic healing hacks. And we're going to talk about feelings today.
We are.
Yeah.
Feelings.
How are you feeling today, Pam?
I'm feeling great to be here.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm feeling a little, I don't know, maybe like I'm kind of in a mixed bag of feelings.
Mixed bag.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, feelings are really important.
Yeah.
And we can be a mixed bag. We can, we do the 4 feelings corners all the time, right? And
Yeah.
and I did it last night in a new class, and people are saying, I don't know, I kind of belong here, and I kind of feel that, and I kind of belong here. And that's all okay.
Right.
Feelings are so important. Now, they can't be the engine.
Right.
They
Yeah.
have to be more
The caboose.
along the line of the caboose
Yeah.
because they do move so quickly, but they're so significant. So how many times have we been asked when we're teaching class, hey, but there's 7 negative ones on this list from Voice of the Heart book by Chip Dodd. There's only 1 positive one.
Right.
Right? And we're like, no,
they're all good.
All 8 of them are important. They're essential. They're significant. And they tell you something. They inform you. You need to pay attention to them.
Right.
When you don't, you can get stuck.
Right.
Stuck moving away from self.
You're right.
Moving away from others.
Yeah.
And moving away from God.
Right.
When you address them, you're moving towards self, others, and God.
Yeah.
So
Healthier relationships,
yeah.
right?
Now, a lot of people are taught, that's not okay.
Yeah, you
not
gotta
okay to
stuff
be
down
angry.
anger.
No anger. No anger allowed in this home. Remember, I've told you in my home growing up, there was a sign on a bulletin board for like 5 years. Anger is such a good thing. We should never lose it. I didn't even know how to decipher that, but what I got from it was the message, this unspoken family rule, we don't get angry here. And yet my parents were always angry. Dad drank, mom yelled.
Oh, my.
So, do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
So feelings. We want to talk them through the 8 major feeling states, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do that.
So we start with anger.
Yeah.
Good place to start. And anger signifies a boundary violation, something that we feel passionate about.
Right.
So we can all think of, I don't know, I'm driving, someone
Yeah.
cuts me off, I feel angry.
Right.
There's a boundary violation. You came into my lane. Maybe I was at risk for a car accident because of this person. And I can make all kinds of assumptions about this, stupid person driving. Do they even have their license? I can do
Where are
all
they
of those
from?
kinds of things, right?
Yeah.
I need to address that. And I need to acknowledge I'm feeling that way. I need to kind of talk myself off the ledge, however.
Yeah.
And so that I can get past that feeling state and see what else is there, because isn't there fear underneath that?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
Like,
fear.
I could have gotten hurt.
I could have
or-
gotten hurt. They could have gotten hurt. I could have had
Yeah.
a car situation, lost my vehicle. We just went through that. We hit a deer at Christmas, and so we're getting a new vehicle.
man.
Here's the thing. If I don't address the anger, what happens is it turns into resignation. Or if I bury it,
Yeah.
depression.
I had a similar situation that happened to me, and I had a really great advice from one of my spiritual mentors, and it was actually during the time I was trying to write a thesis, and I couldn't get the first paragraph written. I was so mad at myself. I'm like, why can I not do this? Like, I know the subject. Like, I know what I want to say, and I know how I want to end it. And I was getting so angry with myself. And he told me, he was like, well, what are you passionate about? Why are you passionate to write this? What's the point of you writing this? And speak from that. Like, write from what are you passionate about and get to moving.
So you perfect example
Yeah.
of using your anger then to prompt, what is this really about?
Yeah, what is it about?
What is it really about?
Yeah.
All right,
So moving to the passionate side of it, and
Moving
not
to the
being
passionate
like,
side of
I
it.
can't do this at all. Yeah.
Yeah, and allowing myself to listen. That's a beautiful reframe on anger. Now we have to manage our anger. We
Yeah.
don't get to be aggressive with it.
Right.
And we shouldn't,
Be passive with it either.
right, and shove it down. Again,
Yeah.
that does turn into depression. Fear is next.
Yeah.
And we've all felt fear. Fear is a very important emotion. It keeps us safe.
Yep.
If we didn't have a fear response at all, we would be in a dangerous situation when we really need to protect ourselves.
Right.
So fear allows us to be wise and to grow our faith, to have faith in God. If I don't acknowledge that, it can easily get stuck over in this other place, which is kind of an anxiety place. Or I might need to control everything. So,
Or become rageful, right?
Or become rageful.
Yeah.
Exactly. Hurt is next.
Yeah.
And listen, we don't have any problem when we physically get hurt.
Yeah.
Going to get help, which is what hurt tells us. Seek help.
Right.
But somehow when we're emotionally hurt, we keep it to ourselves.
Yeah.
We shut down. We don't want to acknowledge it. So hurt is so important to seek help. Maybe forgive. Forgive someone. Forgive self. Maybe forgive God.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, I get stuck over here in resentment, the
Yeah.
R word.
Yeah.
And in resentment, I'm going to be really shut off.
Right.
And I'm going to kind of turn other people off.
Yeah. So forgiveness is like a really, big piece of that too, right?
Huge
like
piece.
Forgiving others whenever they've said some hurtful things. They may not have
Done
known
some hurtful
something.
things, said some
Yeah.
hurtful things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Giving somebody the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Depersonalizing. A lot of times it's not about me.
Right.
It's really
Right.
not at all related to me.
Right.
I also am not a doormat, however.
Right,
If I
yeah.
begin to see a pattern of behavior, I distance
I'm gonna
myself
distance.
and take good care of myself.
Yeah.
Loneliness.
Ooh. Yeah.
Loneliness causes us to seek connection.
Yeah, we
and
need
we're
it.
created for connection. Mm-hmm. So we love thinking about the need for connection and being affiliated and being attuned with people and attached, because intimacy is important for us. And so when we don't address that and say, yeah, I'm kind of lonely, and reach out and do something about it, it's easy for us to become apathetic.
Right.
And in that place, we isolate, don't we?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
we're telling ourselves a negative feedback loop.
Right.
Nobody likes me. Nobody cares.
They don't want to come to my birthday.
I don't even think it matters that I live. Will it
Yeah.
matter that I ever existed? So they don't want to come to my birthday. They don't know when my birthday is. I'm really old. Right. It can really get messy.
Yeah.
Sadness is next.
Yeah.
Sadness allows us to feel and get to a place of acceptance and
Yeah.
honoring loss,
Yeah.
whatever kind of loss that is.
Yeah. I mean, loss, it comes in so many different forms. It's not just like a physical form of death, but there's loss of job, there's loss of housing, there's loss of
Anticipatory loss,
Yeah,
functional loss, role loss,
Yeah.
all of those things. Many losses beyond just death.
Right. Yeah.
And they're harder sometimes to identify. So sometimes people assume, yeah, that's not really a big deal. How often do
Yeah.
people come in and say to us, yeah, other people really have lost a lot more than I have.
Yeah.
But that loss of your German Shepherd,
Right.
or that loss of your
Significant
granny
for
who
you.
was 101
Right.
could be just as important. And if it is to that person, it is just
Right.
as important.
Yeah.
Right. So we address that. If we don't, it's easy to go into a place of self-pity where I just feel sorry for myself. Again, I'm going to isolate there as
Right.
well.
Yeah. So accepting it, honoring the loss.
Honoring it, accepting it, grieving it, working through it with safe people, working through it
Right.
with a counselor, journaling, talking to God about it. Guilt is next.
Yeah.
Guilt is this feeling of I did something wrong.
Right.
And when I address that, I can get freedom from it.
Yeah.
When I don't, it's easy for me to become sort of self-condemning and feel a sense of paranoia. What if I do that again? I'm going to fail
Yeah.
again. I never mind. I'm not
Yeah.
going to try. I don't want them to know, and I'm going to hide
Right.
in that place of guilt.
I feel like a lot of people get guilt and shame like confused. Yeah. And so, yeah, let's talk about the difference between
Quickly, guilt, something I did.
Yeah.
Shame, much more profound, something I am.
Yeah.
I did something bad. I am fundamentally bad.
Yeah.
And so this is something that we're going to talk about in our next podcast, I think,
Yeah.
shame.
Yeah.
This is something we need to really dig into because so many people are stuck in shame. And that's what we're going to
Right.
call it, stuck in shame.
Yeah. Stuck in shame.
And how to de-shame ourselves.
Shame.
Speaking of which,
Well, let's go back to guilt real quick. So, in the negative side of guilt is paranoia.
Paranoia
It's
and self-condemnation. I'm just flawed. I'm just bad. I just can't do anything right.
Yeah.
Shame, then. This can lead to humility and empathy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I recognize my frailty. I recognize my weakness.
Yeah.
I see who I am. I'm a saint who's working out my sin nature, and I then have tolerance and patience for other people who are working on themselves too.
Yeah.
If I don't address that, it's easy to go into a toxic shame place and get stuck and feel inadequate.
Right.
And lastly,
Glad.
which
Which also can have a bad side to it, right?
It can. I need to see glad as being in a place of joyfulness and hope, instead of this place of happy, which leads to indulgence,
right? And cynicism, honestly, just I'm better than everybody else, right? Or pride, or
and boredom, boredom as well.
Yeah,
I've got everything. I've got everything, and I'm looking for the next happy bump, something to make me feel good.
Yep.
And all of those things are fleeting.
Right.
It doesn't last very long, and so it won't lead to joy. So I address this, and I keep that in check.
Yeah.
There you go. 8 feeling states. Thank you, Chip Dodd.
Yeah, I know. He did all the hard work.
And our hack for today?
Our hack for today is do a check-in with yourself.
Do a check-in. Feel your feels.
Listen, feelings are, like I said earlier, it can be a mixed bag. It really can. And
they're not right or wrong.
They're not
feelings
right or wrong.
Not, they just are.
They just are. They're not your engine. They're your caboose.
Yep.
When you check in with your feelings, this is what I typically do whenever I'm starting to feel kind of like icky inside and don't know really what's going on. I kind of do like a scan.
Yep.
And I feel like throughout my body, I'm like, okay, am I feeling more tense than normal or what? And what is that like related to?
What is going on? So we're going to check in with that.
So I do that check-in, and I check in to see, okay, if it's tension behind my eyes or whatever, am I starting to feel sad? Am I sad about something? Or is my stomach upset about something? A lot of times my somatic symptoms that I have correlate with my feelings.
Oh, the polyvagal is going to tell us all kinds of things, right? Your rest and digest.
Yeah.
Shut that down right now because something's going on.
Something's going on.
So, we've got to pay attention.
Yeah.
So, when you feel those feelings, check in with your body.
Check in with your body.
Become an investigator of what's going on.
Yep. And then the last part of it is address it.
And address it.
Yep. So if it is something that you're feeling angry about, is it something that you need to actually address to the person? And how do you address it with that person?
And we can cover that at a future time as well.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Yeah. So that's our trick for today, our tip for today. And thank you so much for joining us today, the Shrink Wrap Show. And I'm Tahliah Peak.
And I'm Dr. Pam.
We'll see you next time.
Next time.
We're so glad you joined us today on the Shrink Wrap Show.
If you enjoyed this episode or found it helpful, remember to hit the subscribe button, the like button, and share the show with people you care about.
Also, your feedback is valuable, so leave a comment, question, or suggestion, and we'll see you next time
on the Shrink Wrap Show.